Alright, it is time. Hello everybody and welcome to round 5, where we'll be looking at yohkagamine versus MushyMango, as well as nyxnyxnyx versus LaBoulangere. It's a best of 3 on both sides. Winner goes to the losers finals, and then the actual losers finals is after that. And then the grand finals is to come. Yes, indeed. Hopefully we get through all of that this month, because we've got a cool patch as soon as this tournament is done. Going to be pretty great, but let's take a look at our upper bracket. We've got Yoka with the Lilith and Zaran duo versus Mushy with the Kasi and Sinus Sag. What could be said about these decks? Well, Lilith here is going to be destroying stuff with a lot of Dying Wish, a lot of Nocturnes spitting out a lot of tokens, or a lot of creep tiles, and we've got the 1x Obliterate to cash out on them, or the Zaran with your standard Healy, Gigantic Minion, and Titan to back it all up. So huge artifact combo in the works. Mushy's got a combo here with Cassie. This is a pretty nasty deck once it comes online, and it ejected me out of the tournament. Pretty cool stuff. And basically, Unbirth turns things into a gigantic thing with every keyword. Very nice. And the Sag deck, it gets in close and it has a lot of artifacts. And it's also got the Sirocco spam theme, so it could swarm out. Who could win? Place your bets. We are going into game number 1 of this game number 3 of this best of 3. In 3, 2, 1, paste in the replay. Okay, just me to cast, and we got a double Odyssean. Pretty nice. Bone Crusher's here to generate a ton of stats. So is Razor Crag. And here's Abhorrent to cash out on it. So if a single rush minion shows up, then the combo is basically complete. But you can't go fishing for combo pieces this early with the deck. And you need to be replacing aggressively to find these Astral Crusaders, because they don't really do anything until you've replaced them with it. Opening with the Nightmare Operant. So one possible response to this is taking a diagonal step and then expanding on the bottom. But we see an Inkhorn Gaze which just immediately annihilate it. Which is reasonable, it denies the mana. And a rock is kind of a nice pickup. It's not going to be able to move at all, but maybe that's to its advantage. Of course, with the Nightmare Operants destroyed, there's a Mechazor in this deck. Rock Plate diagonally. It's going to be looking at both mana tiles. And Bone Crusher in position to grab a mana tile if necessary, or to come in for a big hit. Could potentially drop a Wraithling on this top tile. Yohkagamine is going to want to spoil as much of this mana as possible. So Sphere of Darkness for 1 damage. A general attack would do the other 2 damage, but taking 5 damage to the face doesn't sound advisable. With 4 mana, we could see an Un-7, which could threaten to drop a Vorpal Reaver. Yes, indeed. So Bone Crusher could potentially come in just for 5 damage. That might be good enough, because something could be dropped on the bottom mana tile, but instead MushyMango gonna opt to just capture the bottom tile with a Bone Crusher and drop a Deceptibot to immediately bait the rock into hitting it and possibly spitting out a Mechazor in the process. What does he get? Silver. That's a good one. We got the cops deployed to deal with the silver mana cheating. I think this thing has been cheated out more often than it has been actually just cast out, courtesy of Deceptibot. So now all that's required is for Mechazord to show up, and then it's go mode. Yoka does not have options for dealing with the silver, which is pretty unfortunate. There just isn't the damage. And trading on 7 with Deceptibot's pretty risky. Attacking Deceptibot with the general seems most reasonable, but then the Bone Crusher comes in, and then Silver comes in, and then Yoka's on death's door. But there's no running away. Cannot let this thing spit out more minions, so it gets dealt with first. Un7 could attack Silver to make a Vorpal Reaver show up. Got some creep generation underway. Nocturne's pretty sick for that. 1 turn, 5 creep. Cassie would be jealous. And we indeed see Vorpal Reaver, which is pretty nice because even if it gets immediately destroyed by Silver, it still spits out a ton of units. So of note, MushyMango doesn't have any combo pieces to go off on. This Bone Crusher would be a 10-3. Gonna see a ping punish on the Reaver. Wraithlings everywhere. Silver's pushing some pretty real damage. But these Wraithlings gonna have no problem mopping everything up. And we see a Chakram. So now Yoka is obliged to calculate lethal. I think that there's lethal here. If every single Wraithling connects, including the general. But there's a bit of a... Yeah, this should be pretty easy. Because each Wraithling that attacks gets cleared. And each one that comes in hits for 3. So there's exactly enough damage here to push a win. The minions have to be ignored though. Maybe yohkagamine doesn't see it. Oh, here it comes. Good game. And can even clear the minions along the way thanks to Frenzy. This is the power of Chakram in a swarm. Yohkagamine getting game number 1 over MushyMango. Pretty strong start. Combo did not come together for MushyMango as anticipated. Even though the Unbirth was in hand immediately, it just didn't show up again, and there was no corporeal cadence to throw the 10-3 to make that a direct hit. Maybe in game number 2 between these two. There's no telling what decks they'll bring out for the next time. Well, let's have a look. Going into it, 3, 2, 1. And we're here. Indeed, we've got the Saj mix-up. Lilith is still around. So oozing the center tile is really nice because it's the only hope of it actually capturing a mana tile. And in this case, it's just going to trade with the Dream Shaper. MushyMango's getting pretty happy with that after having drawn a bunch of cards with it. Whoa, we have a Nocturne and a Abyssal Crawler, so this Crawler starts spitting out Wraithlings. I would probably put it up and to the right of the Nocturne, that way it could potentially grab a mana tile, yeah. And really nice Wraithling positioning, just like aggressively forward. It's a nice creep tile for this noble. Soroka is too early, but it might be too valuable to remove. Because we got a Windstriker right here to pump it up. Focusing on clearing Wraithlings is always great. But the play becomes awkward. I guess it becomes equip a thing pass. Yeah. While spoiling this mana tile. Could potentially also equip the Obdurator. But that is asking for it, because these minions could come in and trade for it. The other option is the mana just gets wasted. So we're equipping. MushyMango was fine trading the artifacts for these two. But is Yoka good with that? There's a lot of play options. On 7's pretty good because there's a Klaxon to cheat out. Abyssal Noble's pretty good. BBS is decent because it makes 2 creep along the way. Or there's just the Wraithling Factory. On 7. MushyMango's deal was too tantalizing. yohkagamine crashes his board into a trade with the Obdurator and the Staff of Yakir. But on 7 gets bounced harmlessly to hand. Sensible Reader doing some work. Puts Klaxon way back. And MushyMango has a pretty good surround on Yoka. Any Wraithlings that pop out are just immediately gonna get cleaned up. Feeling good enough to trade General Hits. This Inkling Surge doesn't even draw a card until the BBS gets hit first. But casting those two things puts the on-7 in Noble out of range. So we're probably seeing one of these 4-drops come out. How about the big threat? Sport Avenger in the back, gonna be hella strong. MushyMango is standing next to Creep though, so Provoke could potentially be brought out from the Snowball. Or Klaxon gets slammed down for the guaranteed Provoke. Oh, rolling the dice. Moonrider. And there's mana left over for Shadow Spawn, so this is going to immediately spit out a 4-4. Yoka very quickly coming back into this game. MushyMango is going to have to be careful not to go out too low. Moonrider here is why ordering is important. You really want to make sure you tap your Noble before you hit your General's BBS. That is a wall of impressive stats. Sirocco could potentially make 3/2s. But we got the meddlers right here. Attacking the Moonrider seems kind of important, but another demon is just going to come right behind it. So maybe falling back and winning with range is just the play. Double Sworn Avenger is a pretty quick clock. We've got the Blistering Scorn for secret damage. And enough minions to take out both the threats up front. Yoka is gonna need to use his Munch. For sure. As the leftover mana to also get something out of the Noble. 2 Munches. Maybe just take care of both archers. Noble spits out a Klaxon. Do have a Munch. Pretty strong turn. Doesn't need to attack here because the creep does the final point of damage. And MushyMango with a time maelstrom in hand, that's not going to be that useful. Unless entropic decay shows up. Very nice. So it's possible to decay this Klaxon away, and then a time maelstrom could allow MushyMango to hit this noble and then clear it with a scorn. If there was all the mana in the world, you know. Could still do it, but he's just going to take a hit on this Wraithling. Scorn makes a Dervish and then immediately kills it. But Sword Avenger hitting for 4 is able to clear the noble in the back. Maybe 2 munches were needed after all. Yoka has got some pretty nice options, but doesn't have a lot of health to work with, so it's gonna have to really know where to cast these. Is 1 mana short of Munch plus Klaxon. Decided to just go with Klaxon plus Ooze. It does allow the Blood Surge Frenzy to find value, which could come up. Now there's a Wind Striker, Maelstrom. Good time to use Psionic Strike. Sworn Avenger hitting for 5 or 6. Wind Striker plays extremely aggressively. And might just use the Time Maelstrom to reposition, but doesn't need to, because Blustering Scorn completely jails Yoka. Okay, here's the complete jail. 6 damage in the back from Sworn Avenger to tie up the series 1-1. MushyMango pushing it to game number 3. Very nice. But, who's gonna take it all? This one is for all the bananas. Final game between Yoka and Mushy. Starting now. Mushy's feeling the power of Sag. Yoka just gonna stick with the Abyssian. Because Nocturne's been showing up every game. Celebrate's a decent opener. We're probably going to see the mana above or below the general with a diagonal opener. See a lot of that. One step forward. That's a decent spot for it too. This isn't a Hyper Swarm Lilith deck that can just Wraithling Swarm to take it immediately. And doesn't have Restless Shadow plus another way of making a Wraithling to take it out. So just 2 oozes. Mushy can jump up to 5, which is Abyssal Noble mana, but the Noble needs creep to function. Probably going to see a Wind Striker out of Mushy, capturing maybe the front tile. And then just chop up the ooze. Adam Klinger is going to be pretty good late with this Hexblade, because it'll just be a 5-4. Mushy replaces, finds another Celebrant. These Celebrants are going to be great for up in the Sirocco count. And it's the Hexblade we're seeing come out. Well, it's a way to take less damage and push more damage, but it comes at the cost of this Adam Klinger not being as good. That does it for the Hexblade. So Mushy could potentially go Sworn Avenger plus Celebrant. By dropping the Celebrant on the mana and skipping the mana generation and then dropping the Avenger diagonally back to protect it. That might be fine. Ooze can't find a hit. Unless it takes 2 steps down and hits what's on the mana tile. Scorn is also decent. A little less now that Mango's moved. Okay, so Celebrants, no mana generation, Archer in the back. Might have Abyssal Noble problems in the immediate future. Need something like a Sandswell Reader to deal with what it brings out. And then the other points of mana, I don't know. Maybe BPS, that'll put it on cooldown for 2 turns. Maybe the Crawler. It is a Vorpal Reaver, congratulations! This thing hitting for 12 a turn is going to make pretty short work of MushyMango. Got a Dream Stripper that doesn't have Bond online. We got a Sirocco that's only seen 2 golems. We got the Amara Healer that's a turn away. These 3 cards are all super awkward in the hand. And Scorn doesn't quite do enough. It takes out 2 minions, so it's probably the play. Scorn is also a really good punish to once the Vorpal Reaver cracks open. So maybe attacking the Reaper, shooting it, and then scorning. Maybe that's the play. Only problem is whatever comes out of Noble next might decide the game. So it's a Sworn first. Pumps up this Sworn Avenger to 4. Or up to 5 if MushyMango takes a swing. Nope. Ah. 2 Wraithlings right in range of the Avenger. That's pretty unfortunate for MushyMango. Hence the emote. Yoka seized victory. Doesn't have it this turn, but seems to have it next turn. This Moonrider is awfully convincing. Oh, there goes the Sworn Avenger lethal. Needs to find 14 more points. Has 5 of it here with the healer. It's a lot more menacing for these Wraithlings to not crash into the Scorn. They could have traded with it, but they threatened to explode with damage thanks to a chakram or something. Is a Mara healer even enough? Or is Dream Shaper fast enough? Well, here's the artifact combo. Takes no damage, is able to take out the Moonrider, no problem. Blistering scored trades. But there's the problem you deal with when you run into Lilith, where she just has all these Wraithlings. And this is a pretty nutty Lilith build, because we got creep support too. So we're going to see 3 hits here that knock off the artifact. Sweet. Gigantic army. Yoka's free to fall back. Aurora's Tears needs a lot to work with. Healer's basically the only play. And we can see 2 G-mints per turn. Well, it's chakram time. Congratulations, yohkagamine, for dancing 2-1 over MushyMango. Making it to the round before the losers finals. And then possibly making it to the grand finals after that. MushyMango had a pretty good run. Hope to see you again next season. Yes, indeed. Abyssal Noble, so cracked. It's so good. Next up, it is nyxnyxnyx versus LaBoulangere. Nyx was the co-caster of last session, and Labou is our Cassie specialist that does have a Xerix in the back. We just never see it. Could potentially get people with Lost in the Desert and all this other stuff, but we're mostly seeing Cassie here with Ghost of Zayla's. Obliterate's also a really good way to finish out a match. Versus Nyx. Got the Kara deck with a lot of tokens, looking to Flawless Reflection to potentially turn them into Ghost or Ember Worms. Ghost Seraphim's also a combo enabler there. And Starhorn here has a funny combo with World Core Golem. You may have seen a World Core lethal in an earlier round. And there's also Juggernaut and some other stuff. Alright, without further ado, it is time for series number 2. LaBoulangere versus nyxnyxnyx. Coming at ya. Match 1 looks like this. You immediately see the headliner minion. It's so big, it doesn't fit on the card. I would expect it to be mulliganed, but with this deck and 2 ways to cheat at lower mana, maybe it's actually key here. Because once this is summoned, it could be cheated out later. Puzzle pieces are coming together. There's a Silithar spoiling the mana tile, just for good measure. Something to play. Kujata can come out right now, so here it is. There's even a second one. Next 2 turns out of Nyx could be Kujata and then World Core Golem. I don't know if LaBoulangere is ready for that kind of speed. Staring down the Silithar, but can't actually do anything to it because it's just going to turn to an egg and rehatch. So probably painful pluck to ping the Kujata at the back. And then Abyssal Scar finds it next turn, which pushes World Core Golem back another turn. Nyx has got a pretty weird hand. Kujata is basically the only thing playable, but everything else is too good to replace because it's on plan. Just dropping a World Core isn't a foolproof plan though, because LaBoulangere could use Lure to put it into a corner or use Ping Punish to just deal with it. Assuming those cards are drawn. At the moment, there's no answer. So Nick's going to contest the mana tiles. Shadownova and the Pink to take out all the discounts. So it is no longer World Core Golem time. Back up to 9 cost. Although we've got a Crawler in striking distance, I'd expect Starhorn here to take 2 steps forward and take care of it. This thing was too greedily looking at this mana tile, and I think left itself wide open. So where goes that creep generator? Already got 13 creep for Labu. So this Ghost Azalea is gonna just do so much damage if this connects. So Nyx has 2 blockers in the way, both with Rebirth, to really wall this Cassie out. And although it could be tempting to use up this punish, it needs to go on this World Core Golem, which is coming out. Two obliterates in hand. That's a few too many. Well, Grasp of Agony seems like the best play. Just puts a bunch of chip damage on the Ragebinder. Doesn't seem to be a way to clear both minions, so just gonna hit the Silithar. And then finish it off with the Crawler. Hopefully isn't gambling with this Crawler to put a creep somewhere specific. Okay. Not seeing any of that. Although, I wouldn't have expected the minion to be traded in there. Like, why not have it hit the egg? Nether Mild is a pretty funny way to deal with Warped Core Golem. Uh-oh. Metodic Induction has showed up. The combo is here. All pieces of the combo are here. Nyx has 2 turns to win. First, Warped Core Golem on the cheap. Second, it needs to die. So actually teleporting it to the corner would be the ultimate way. But then again, it actually doesn't need to die. It's just coming out next turn. Well, here's the punish. And LaBoulangere hitting for 15 would have threatened to win had Nyx not have the combo right here. Here's the egg. It's hatched. Achievement unlocked. Destroy an enemy with vertical. Nyx, getting game number 1 with the combo. That's pretty strong. Definitely abusing LaBoulangere's tenacity to stay close range. Labou might have to fall back and play 2 obliterates or something, who knows. Or maybe just the combo doesn't come together. Or maybe it is time for game number 2. And indeed, same generals. Maybe we'll see Juggernaut do something. It seems like it's always got a good lane, but it always gets replaced at the last second. It's like the plan B that's never needed. Even though there's Maw here to bite it. Painful Pluck. I kind of figured this card wouldn't be worth running unless you could duplicate it somehow. But Labou does not mind opening with it at all. Selthar 2 health is a lot easier to deal with. Well, this looks like an excellent Juggernaut game to me. Because we got the Metallurgist, we got the Flash Reincarnation. These punishes are going to be absolutely key in this matchup. Just one-shot these bombs. Has an awkward turn here. Best play is Shadow Nova, but where do you put it? Spoiling the mana and hitting nothing? Hitting a general and a minion? Okay, spoiling top mana, hitting Metallurgist seems good. Nyx only needed 1 mana tile though to activate Juggernaut. Are we seeing it? Could even duplicate the Juggernaut with the combo. Oh, we're seeing it. It's time. Oh, our eggs are an incredible egg. And a pretty weak one. But Peacekeeper was my mascot. LaBoulangere is obliged to make an omelet out of it immediately. Should have a fine turn between Abyssal Scar, Punish, hitting the other egg. Would be able to delete this whole board without any problem. Other than losing some resources, I guess, but this is fine. I don't know how Juggernaut number 2 gets dealt with, but that's a problem for future LaBoulangere. Warren Kerr pretty nuts with Juggernaut. You never know what you're getting. But with 5 mana and pretty good selection of cards in hand, Seems like the end for the jug. Now, is there some consideration for this blood tier alchemist? Yeah. Chasing down this metallurgist, opting to ping it instead. Just ignoring this golem because its bond can't trigger. So Nyx could potentially Meiotic and make a Juggernaut. Has multiple copies of it, but doesn't have any way to hatch. So Shadow Nova would immediately clear that egg. So it's not even worth making a Juggernaut egg. Maybe Seeking Eye is the play. Or a Juggernaut in the back, just to bait out the Shadow Nova. Because Ping is offline. So it's basically now or never. And there's another Meiotic anyway. Or Mitotic. The Shadow Nova is going to eat all the mana now. So that's LaBoul's entire turn. But good plays it so the general gets hit too. So Shadow Nova in the corner, not hitting the general, but it's in a position that the board could get more easily maxed out with creep. Which is the funny thought, but LaBoul puts down so many of these creep tiles. I was thinking of the later game. And it doesn't want any place to be able to run to. I'll have a slasher, it's not its time. Mitotic is still set to Juggernaut, so that could be hatched immediately. Maybe hatching it with the Warren Kerr is better, though. Nah. Juggernaut now is better, as it turns out. And it made 2 medium golems. Pretty nice. Got one with healing and rebirth, and one with diagonal invincibility. Or was it orthogonal invincibility? Gonna have to let it hatch to find out. Oh, there's no punish for LaBoulangere. So LaBoul is really in the woods now. That's right, they're in the woods for real. There's this funny 3D mode that you can just activate at any point. Boom! And you can always zip back to this. We'll be seeing a lot of expansions on that 3D mode next month. So here's an inordinately large creature. Way bigger than this jug even after it grows. Nyx could potentially bite the Juggernaut. Has a funny play here of being able to hatch 7 eggs. But would trade the Juggernaut to be able to do that. If any of those eggs are a world core and close enough to Cassie, that's just the win. But that is so improbable. It is funny though. So maybe based on that, Nyx should go for it. Jugger takes a diagonal step closer, cashes out, eggs everywhere, Morin Kerr crashes, and then who knows what you get. You get like Rippers. Actually, no wait, it's only Golem eggs. So Peacekeeper would be some real shit. And with 7 hits, and most of them can get to the general, it might be worth it. But if it fails, Nyx actually would lose on the spot, because Ghost Azalea and this Juggernaut hitting back would be so much damage. The Juggernaut would have to get hit by whatever eggs come out. Okay, looks like space is being made. It's time. Oh, those eggs. What do we got? Oh, we got a Peacekeeper. There's also some huge boys in there. But let's just bring all of them to life. Good game. Look at that maneuver. Wow, Morin Kerr is so sick. So this is the power of Morin Kerr and Chugger. Woo! And just like that, nyxnyxnyx has defeated LaBoulangere 2-0. And is going to be able to make it to the final stages here. As we can see, up next is going to be yohkagamine versus nyxnyxnyx. And the winner of that takes whoever fell from the upper bracket, which is going to be Copier or Venator. But, yeah, we'll have to get to that in a later week. Now that we've got 4 players, whoever wins this next match in the lower bracket is guaranteed to get at least 3rd. So $25 payout, which is what I got from the last D2 tournament that I won last month. Oh yeah, gotta throw that in. And if you can go all the way, you get a unique trophy, you get the new back, 85 bucks, bunch of good stuff. Also, we will mention you on these cards. As we can see, we've got one of the funniest things of this tournament series is all these Agent Cypher's 3rd places. Although he had since retired, so maybe I've got a chance to get in there, but not for the season. I'm out. And indeed, for today, I am out. Have a good day, everyone. Good evening. We'll see you for the next round.